okay.
So I'm back for a couple of weeks, and then I'll be out of the country for work.
Okay, okay.
A bit
Yeah,
of a crazy couple of months for me.
I'm sure, yeah. Everybody's struggling, like trying to find the time. This week, Ramnath Prabhu, there was a senior devotee, like Amarendra Prabhu, who's actually, I think maybe he's from Atlanta, but
Yeah,
yeah, he's,
in the US, yeah.
yeah. So Amarendra Prabhu was here in Manna for a few
Oh
days.
wow.
And
Has
yeah,
has he left?
he left Prabhuji. I think
Mhm.
so, because I think he came for a few days and he was there over the weekend, and on Monday also, all the volunteers, we had a chance to, have a Srimad Bhagavatam, hear Srimad Bhagavatam from him. Quite he's so well versed with Bhagavatam. He's been doing very good work on preaching. So yeah, it was nice for all the devotees to come in, and we had a session in the Haveli. So it was really nice actually, to have his association and listen from him. And interestingly, Prabhuji, towards the end, I gifted him the Chasing Rhinos with the Swami.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just gave him as a parting gift. I just told him it was, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, so many things he talks about Prabhupada and all the devotees. We talk about it, and who better than Shamsundar Prabhu to give a personal account of his experiences with Prabhupada. So I thought it will really help. While traveling, he can read a bit.
Mhm.
Shyam Prabhuji, is that book available as an audio book? Do you know?
Not as an audiobook, Prabhu, but
Ah,
if you're
okay.
interested, I have the set. I'm actually helping Prabhuji in distributing the book, actually. And
Ah,
it is wonderful because he has 3 volumes. Prabhuji has written 3 volumes,
yeah,
and Shamsundar Prabhu is like the personal secretary for Prabhupada for
sure.
3 years. And he's written the last volume, that's volume 3. It's all about how UK, ISKCON got
Ah,
started off,
okay.
and all this. So it's like literally seeing with your eyes how
Yeah.
manner got started off. And it's only devotees we had to help, because I was just helping Prabhuji when he came, Shamsundar Prabhu when he came to UK. I was just
Yep.
taking him around to all the temples and helping him distributing the book. So anything that we buy, it just goes to Prabhuji, directly to
Wow.
to US. So a lot of devotees have brought it as well. But if yeah,
Okay.
Prabhu, if you're anytime interested, then I can help you
I'll
later.
let you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. By all means, Prabhuji, you can let me know and we can helping. This is a small service, actually. Anything that we can do for the devotees,
Absolutely.
help Prabhupada in the mission, isn't it? And we have so fortunate here. We have Ramnath Prabhu also here giving us the guidance and what more can we ask for? Yeah.
Amarendra had not seen these books by Shamasundar. Is that it?
I think so, Prabhu. He didn't say anything. He just, when I just told him, he said, like, yeah, you can keep it in the bag. So I just put it in his small bag that he got with him.
More
Yeah.
books to go into his library. Maybe he'll read them. Yeah, exactly.
Whatever, Prabhuji. It's just a
I
thought
mean,
that came in my mind. I
that's
thought,
the thing about modern day ISKCON. There's so many books. I mean,
yes, yes,
they're all wonderful, but
yeah,
above and beyond all these extra books, you could say, are Prabhupada's books. So it's quite a challenge for devotees to read.
yeah. Absolutely, Prabhuji. That is very much there, actually, because just finding time to read Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita itself is a big ask these days, isn't it? Because many times people struggle with the Sanskrit verses and things like that. But it's good that for us, as KrishnaBook, we are able to not go through the Sanskrit, but directly able to go through as in a form of storytelling, which is really nice, isn't it? Um,
Yes.
quite a challenge actually to read the Sanskrit verses, at least from the Bhagavatam, because the slokas are in a different meter. So quite interesting. Himal Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Sneha Mataji, Hare Krishna, Akshin Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you for
Krishna.
joining. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Um, yeah, and yeah, Prabhuji was not there last 2 weeks, so we were just having a discussion on. And Prabhuji, with your permission, maybe I just want to share with them how the ISKCON Berlin one looks like. The
Yeah,
one
sure.
Simhatas.
Wait, what do you got up here? What is all this?
Is this not? I just typed as ISKCON Simhachalam, Germany. Maybe I should.
Singhamsala.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
don't
Well,
think there's
yeah. I
any.
mean, it's hard to see when it's like this, but it's quite an amazing community. It's been there for many, many decades. And the focus is a very different mood. I've never quite experienced it before. It's a Prahlad Nrsimha focus of deity worship. Yeah. There's a whole story of how it developed, and I can't get into all that, of course, but Germany at one point in the 70s and 80s was undergoing a lot of difficulty, and Prabhupada actually authorized them to build a temple to Lord Nrsingadev. And yeah, very amazing community. Yeah. A separate altar. When the worship of Nrsingadev is there, Prabhupada explained that it should be a separate altar, not that like one altar and it has Radha Krishna and Nrsingadev on the same altar. No, it's a separate altar. But the puja is quite extraordinary. Every Saturday they have a big South Indian, fire ceremony, Havan, and it's right there on the altar. It's quite amazing. So many things can be said about it, but it's good actually that I was able to get out a little bit from London and visit some other communities that I've never been to.
Yes.
So yeah, Singhachalam Temple is very nice, and they have a brahmachari ashram. They distribute books. It's actually a very wonderful community.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was there for Janmashtami and Prabhupada's Vyas Puja, and then the devotees I was with, we went to another temple in Germany, the Golokadam Temple, which is in central Germany on the west coast. The Simhachalam Temple is in Bavaria, very beautiful rolling forest land. It's very, very kind of a mystical energy just in of itself, where the Simhachala Temple was. Then we went to another place, Golokadam, and that place was also very mysterious. It was like in a valley. They had a running river there in the valley. So the mood, beautiful forest. So the mood also was very sattvic and mystical. But there, the whole mood was very, very different. There, they're worshiping Shri Madan Mohan, Radha Krishna deities, Govardhan Shila. And I came to learn by Krishna's arrangement. I went. I had no idea really what was going on there, but I came to learn that this community, Golokadam, which as the name would imply, is very much of a Vrindavan mood. They're also going to be installing a shrine with a functional deity to Lord Shiva, Gopishwar Mahadev. And this will be the second time in ISKCON this has actually been done. So now I'm going to be a part of that, and it's quite exciting, actually.
Very nice to hear, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I've proposed to them. They have not gotten back to me yet, but I proposed to them that a Back to Godhead article be written about the community with a focus on the installation of Lord Shiva as Gopishwara for Back to Godhead.
Yeah.
Because it's big news, actually, for ISKCON to understand this.
Yes, Prabhuji. I'm sure it's yeah. I mean, more people would love to know, isn't it? Because sometimes only when people talk about Radha Desh, like the temple in France and all that, only when people go and visit, then they get to know a bit. Otherwise, we have no idea like how these temples are. So it's always nice to know about them through you.
Gopishwara Mahadev first manifest at New Vrajadam, but that's because Shivaram Swami in Hungary specifically wanted the community to be Vraj, New Vrajadam. So what is Vraj? What is Vrindavan without Gopishwara Mahadev? Similarly, the second manifestation is not, it's not New Gokula, it's just Gokuladam, but the mood is very very much centered on the worship of Radha and Krishna, and the atmosphere of the place is very, very sattvic, very, very wonderful place. So, and also Giriraj is there. I'm thinking that even, for a shrine to Gopishwar Mahadev to manifest, Giriraj may be a prerequisite, actually, because Giriraj establishes that mood of Vrindavan.
Yes, absolutely.
What is this,
Definitely.
Radhastami
Yeah,
festival?
it's actually in Goloka, which
Goloka.
yeah, they just put up this one, Prabhuji, that
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The deities are not very big.
yeah,
No, there's a Govardhan Shila. The deities are not so big, but it's a very sweet mood. And I could see by the decorations in the temple, it's all about Radha and Krishna Vrindavan mood.
yes,
And
Prabhuji.
now they're establishing a rather large Shiva lingam. They had a groundbreaking ceremony 3 months ago in the Akshaya Tritiya in May, which is good for establishing new projects that will last. So my hope is that by doing this correctly, they'll attract various sadhus, elevated devotees to go there. Certainly, it'll be Satchidananda Swami. He's the main spiritual leader. Krishna Kshetra Swami as well. And Indudumna Swami may come there as well as Radhanath Swami, maybe others, for the actual installation of this Gopishwar Mahadev. So when that happens, it will be worldwide news in ISKCON at least, and it'll be significant. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. That could trigger, like, maybe for other places as well. Yeah, somewhere it has to start.
Exactly. I would hope for the manor, but I'm not sure if the manor is ready for it because the manor is not exactly in the same mood, to tell you the truth. It's more in the mood of Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. Yes, it's Radha Gokulananda and the farm New Gokula. But what they lack at the manor is Govardhan Shila.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I've been an advocate for that, but the head pujari there doesn't seem to think that it's a worthy project to think about establishing Giriraj on the altar there. Anyway,
Yeah,
at some point, I would like to think that Bhaktivedanta Manor would be open to that topic and subject discussion, and that it could go forward. But who knows? Things are changing. Things are changing at the manor. There's a new potential GBC coming in. Vishaka Mataji has made it clear that she wants to head into retirement. That means there's also a vacuum in terms of who's going to be the temple president at the manor. I've already talked to Swami Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj about it. He's actually for it, but he doesn't want to do anything that's outside of what local management would approve of.
yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. Let's see.
It's controversial, I know that, but now with a second shrine to Gopishwar Mahadev manifesting within ISKCON, I just see it as just a matter of time.
Yes, Prabhuji. Definitely.
What does everyone else think?
Yeah,
Maybe
I think
maybe they don't think about it. I think about it, but I think about it as part of preaching at the manor, that many of the people that come are coming from the larger Indian Hindu Sanatan Dharma community. And in order for ISKCON to actually unify Sanatan Dharma, the presence of Lord Shiva has to be there. In other words, here in London, people have a choice. They could go to Swami Narayan, they can go to the Pushti Marg, they can go any number
of time. It's a matter of time. 100% a matter of time.
Go say it again, Hemal.
It's a matter of time. Definitely it'll happen. I mean, as Sanatan Dharma is progressing widely,
yes,
100%. It's a matter of time before it happens.
Yeah, I'm actually taking Swami Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj's it's a school of bhakti course, demystifying Hinduism, and I'm fascinated by the topic. It's a the first course was Tuesday, and it's a very introductory course, but I'm waiting to see what he says when it when it comes to Lord Shiva specifically, how he presents it.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, Prabhuji. Hinduism demystified. I think that's the topic. That's
Hinduism demystified, exactly, because it is very mysterious. It needs to be demystified. But what is ISKCON's role in terms of the larger umbrella of Hinduism and Sanatana Dharma? I've come to understand over the decades that actually ISKCON is meant to unify Hinduism, to unify Sanatana Dharma. But there's no possibility of unification without Lord Shiva. And when you do a Shiva Lingam, it's actually Durga is there too. It's a Lingam Yoni combination. So it can be done, but is the will and the understanding to do it strong enough for preaching purposes and for allowing the people in London to actually see ISKCON not simply as another Vaishnava sect. Like I say, there's other options out there for them to go to. ISKCON is one of them. It's not the only Vaishnava temple in town. There's other ones, but I'm convinced if we introduce Gopeshwar Mahadev, the Indians will flock to the manor in a way that they never have before, and the donations will flow as well. Be a lot more money, and not that the manor needs more money, but what is needed is actually lots and lots of financial resources to do a real farm project, which is what Prabhupada envisioned for Radha Gokulananda. Anyway, that's why he named them Radha Gokulananda. He envisioned actually that the manor would become an exemplary farm project. There's a farm there, but it's remained small compared to what Prabhupada actually envisioned.
yes, Prabhuji.
Anyway, it's a big topic. I don't want to distract everyone from tonight's reading.
No, we are happy to hear from you, Prabhuji, and get some insights on this because some of the
I mean, I had a great time, but by Krishna's arrangement, this whole new project has now been opened up for me, and we'll see what happens. And I encourage other devotees, travel around ISKCON, get out of London. They just had a retreat in France, and I've never been to Germany, and it was quite an eye opener for me.
I'm sure, Prabhuji, when we go to other temples, there's so much we can learn, and the mode of devotion, the mode of the bhakti practices that they're doing, and how it is, because we are in our own world. But when you step out and see, like I heard, even in Northern Ireland, this amazing temple that they have, ISKCON temple, and they have places where you can stay, and like it's like a nice farmhouse and things like that.
Yeah.
I heard the same in Scotland as well. So sometimes we don't know. There's so much out there. Actually, we just had to travel and experience it, isn't it? Yeah.
Like my main base is the Soho Temple, but Soho Temple's right there downtown London. It's right in the middle of passion and ignorance of London. Very different mood.
Definitely.
Very intense. I mean,
Very
it's not that it's not. It's very Krishna conscious, but it's very stark comparison. When you walk out the door, it's like the waves of Kali Yuga hit you in the face.
Yes. It's like a transcendental boat in the middle of an ocean of
Yeah.
material existence. Yeah, absolutely, Prabhuji. I know what you're saying. Yeah. Prabhuji, with your permission,
Yes,
we can
please continue your readings. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Nare Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ramnath Prabhu is back from Germany, and we just Prabhuji has been sharing about
Nice.
the visit over there. Nare Prabhu, I'm just going to start. Would you want to do the Mangalacharan prayer, Prabhu?
Yes, sure. Yes, I'll do.
So yeah, I just put it up. So let's go ahead with this, Prabhu.
Oh.
It's the Mangalacharan prayer.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपादाङ्कितं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागराजतं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सजीवं साद्वैतं स्वाद्भुतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता विशाखान्विषंश्च ये कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कच्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमा ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चातारिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada,
Thank you,
thank you.
Prabhuji. It was wonderful. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji was joined Paritosh Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So I'm going to just do a bit of Kirtan and we will dive into the Krishna book. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna, and Kishan Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Vrindavan Das Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
धन्यवाद प्रणाम
Pranam Prabhuji, Kishan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us. Um, so this is
Hare Krishna Sham.
Hare,
Paritosya Tosya.
Hare Krishna, Paritosh Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So we're going to go into the Krishna book reading in a minute. And as all of you know, I think today is the Teachers' Day. Uh, and so it's so nice to know that today is the Teachers' Day. And then on the 11th of September, we have Radha Astami. And we can't emphasize enough in ISKCON Temple. Firstly, for the teachers there, it is so important that we have a spiritual teacher in our lives. And Krishna Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina sattvadarshina. Where Krishna himself tells Arjuna, one should have a spiritual master in our life. And we should serve the spiritual master. We should inquire from the spiritual master. And the spiritual master is an external representative of Krishna, will give us all the knowledge which will take us back to the lotus feet of Krishna. So we are so fortunate that we have seen that in ISKCON, the whole movement was started when Prabhupada left from India to US, and he started out there with the movement. The whole movement was started by just chanting the holy name. And all the people out there at that point of time when the Vietnam War was happening, a lot of people, they just came to Prabhupada out of curiosity. And when they seen Prabhupada chanting, they just joined the kirtan and somebody was dancing, and slowly they accepted Prabhupada as a spiritual master, and Prabhupada as a teacher gave them all the guidance. And once journalist was asking Prabhupada, do you know any miracles? You are Swami coming from India, so do you know of any miracles? And Prabhupada said, these devotees that my disciples, they are the biggest miracles. They were all hippies at one point of time, and now they become happies. What can be more miraculous than that? Where somebody was into intoxication and so many other things, and they have left everything because they found a bona fide spiritual master whom they can trust, they can have faith, and they completely follow the instructions of Prabhupada, and they have genuinely followed. And today we see so many of Prabhupada disciples, including our Ramnath Prabhuji, who's giving us this nectar of about Krishna consciousness. So we are so fortunate, all of us, that we have a spiritual master like Prabhupada. As Krishna said, we have to serve the Prabhupada. We have to serve Prabhupada. How do we serve Prabhupada? By listening to his instructions. But when he says, chant the holy name of Krishna, read Krishna Bhakata, read KrishnaBook, read Bhagavatam, read Bhagavad Gita. And this is what we are doing right now. We are following the instructions of our spiritual master Prabhupada by reading Krishna Katha. I'm sure Prabhupada will be so pleased by all of us that we are trying to make this humble effort of reading Krishna Katha in the association of pure devotees. We have Ramnath Prabhu, Vrindavan Das Prabhu. We have all wonderful devotees here assembled, and this is what is required. And reading Krishna Katha in the association of devotees, Sadhu Sangha, is so important. So I was just reflecting on how fortunate we are. We have come to this spiritual platform because there's so many gurus out there who take Krishna out of the picture and they just glorify themselves. But here you have Prabhupada who always kept Krishna in the center, that everything was revolving around Krishna Bhakti. And not to forget, the most important Radha Astami is coming on the 11th of September. It is so fortunate because um, Radha and many people, when they chant Hare Krishna, but we should have chant Hare Krishna with the awareness that Hare actually is the name of Radharani. And one of the name of Radha is called as Hara. Hara. So when we are chanting it as a mantra, we refer as Hare. So first of all, we are praying to Radha, dear Radha. When we say Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are saying, dear Radharani, dear Krishna, please kindly engage us in your devotional service. This is the prayer, isn't it? And as I was mentioning earlier also, this beautiful sloka from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it said, Radha Krishna eki atma duhi dehadari anyone vilase rasha ashwadana kari, where it is mentioned that Radha and Krishna, eki atma, only one atma, but appearing in two spiritual bodies in a loving transcendental relationship. So when Bhagavan Sri Krishna comes on this planet, when he wants to enjoy, when in this material world, he doesn't depend on any, he depends on his own internal Haladini Shakti, his own internal pleasure-giving potency. And that Haladini Shakti, which is the internal energy of pleasure-giving Shakti of Krishna, is manifested in the form of Radharani. And Radharani is so kind and compassionate that when we go to Radharani and first pray to Radharani, please help us in our devotional service. And Prabhupada used to say that when Radharani is pleased and when she recommends us to Krishna, Krishna will never say no to any devotee. So we have to take this message from our spiritual master that before even we worship Krishna, we should worship Radharani. And when we're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we are doing that anyway. We are always, when we're saying Hare, we are referring to Radharani. So that way we are actually, our mantra is also talking about Radha and Krishna. So we have to keep that in mind. And we should take this opportunity on Radha Astami Day that we pray to Radharani to give us her mercy and a compassion. So that way we'll be able to, go much ahead in our bhakti life and get closer to Krishna, because Krishna is Hari Priya, Radharani is Hari Priya. Saptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Where Radharani, we are praying to Radharani, who's in a molten golden complexion, and she's there in Vrindavan, and she's the daughter of Vishabhanu, and we are praying to her to give her blessings. So on that note, I just wanted to just share about Teachers' Day today and Radha Astami coming up very soon. We should take an opportunity wherever you are. Either we are going to Manna because it's fallen on a Wednesday, so I'm thinking I should go to Soho Temple. It's just next station for me. So all of us, we can do in our own way, or if you're not able to make it, even at our home, we can just pray to Radharani to give us her compassion and her blessings, which will take us closer towards Krishna. So spiritual master Radharani, this is the way we follow the process. When we have their blessings, we'll be able to go closer to Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sanchita ji. Hare Krishna, thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. Dandavat Pranam to you and all the devotees. It's really great. Feels great to be able to join after a while.
Definitely.
After the busy section with the festivals are over now,
yes.
So we can be getting on track.
I'm sure. And Sanchit Maji has got two wonderful children who are great devotees of Krishna, and how much of they serve Krishna at that such a young age where we had no idea at all about Krishna. So all glories, Mataji, how beautifully you're bringing up your children.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada for giving us this platform and making us instrument to serve the Lord, their lordships.
Absolutely. One of the beautiful things about Prabhupada is Prabhupada never says devotion, he says devotional service. That means when you're serving Krishna, when you're serving Radha Krishna, that is when we'll be able to experience the joy of bhakti. So by serving, so in whichever way, whether we can do a kirtan, whether we are coming and cleaning the temple, whether we're going and cooking in the kitchen, deity kitchen, wherever. So that way we'll be able to experience the love of Krishna. Thank you. So as we do always, we just invoke our prayers and we will dive into the Krishna book under the nectar. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. As we always, before starting, we just remember what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha chakto deham punarjanma naiti mamiti so Arjuna. Where Bhagavan Sri Krishna is saying, one who listens to Krishna Katha, one who listens to the divine leelas of Krishna, divyam, these are not to be, the Katha, Krishna Katha is not to be understood on the material platform. These all leelas are divyam, they're all transcendental, they're all spiritual, not to be understood on the material platform. But we have to understand how Krishna is being worshipped through this Krishna Katha. We get to know more, leelas of Krishna. In that way, Krishna Bhagavan says, Janma karma cha me divyam. Even if one is able to listen to Krishna Katha, Krishna says it is so auspicious that when we leave this material world, we will not come back here, but we will directly go to Krishna Loka. So it can't be more auspicious than that, where the Supreme Lord is guaranteeing us not that you will go to some heavenly planet, but he's saying you'll go directly to the supreme planet, which is called as Krishna Loka. And I can't tell you how life is so unpredictable. I was just a month back, I was visiting a very good old friend of mine in Derby, and he called me for his parents' marriage anniversary. They're all into 80 years old, and I had the association. I went out there to Derby, spent a day with them, and just came back. And I just get to know just a couple of days back that my friend's father, is no more. He went back to India and he left his body. And for me, it was thinking like how unpredictable life is. We cannot guarantee what's going to happen the next week. We cannot guarantee what's going to be happening a year from now. So every moment that we spent with the association of our devotees and with the association of our loved ones and the people whom we know, we have to give all our not to be we have to give all our association and have enjoy and relish those moments, especially with the devotees, because this material world is so much of unpredictability, so much of anxiety, so unpredictable that in living in this material world, every step, padam padam vipadam, every step there is some danger, every step there is some kind of calamity, but we have to keep ourselves going in this bhakti life. It is so important to have the association of devotees. Otherwise, we could be kept swept away in this material world. While we lament for people who have left this body and all that, but we pray because a devotee of Krishna is never worried about. He's never anxious about life and death because he knows that Krishna is in his life and he knows that wherever is there, all that his prayer is that we want to serve Radha and Krishna. That's our only prayer. So a devotee of Krishna is not lamenting. He's not looking at the anxiety of what is going to happen if you die, because we know that when we are doing a little bit of seva for Krishna, we are always at the loving feet of Krishna. Neha Bikramanasosti Pratyavayona Vijjate Swalpam Abhyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahatoba. Krishna Bhagavan says, even if you practice a little bit of Krishna Bhakti, Krishna says it will protect you from the greatest dangers of life and death. So as we keep hearing about life and death of our loved ones and our people who are dear to us, we have to remember this particular this message from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is saying, even if you do a little bit of seva, it will protect you and it'll from all these dangers of life and death. On this note, I would like to go into the Krishna Katha. So for the devotees who didn't get a chance earlier to we started off with this chapter of chapter 51. We just completed half a century, beautiful with the association of devotees. And today this chapter was like the deliverance of Muchukonda, quite a big chapter. Muchukonda is actually a devotee of Krishna. So even though he was a devotee of Krishna in his previous life, in this life, he is completely, he's forgotten about that, but he is actually serving the demigods and he was protecting the demigods from these demoniac people and things like that. So Kartikeya, the chief of the demigods, he given him a benediction to Muchukonda, this devotee of Krishna. Kartikeya said, "What you ask for, whatever desire you have." And Muchukonda says, "I have been very tired fighting for the demigods for such a long time that I just want to go and sleep. So please give me this benediction that nobody should disturb my sleep. And if they disturb, I should have the benediction that should burn them into ashes." So that was the kind of thing because he was so deprived of sleep. So Muchukonda, the devotee of Krishna, actually he goes to a cave and he's sleeping over there. And in the meanwhile, what's happening is while he's sleeping in the cave, we have the divine pastimes of Krishna, where we know that Jarasandha and Kalayavana was another king. So along with Jarasandha, he was also trying to attack Mathura. So this time, what Krishna did is Krishna just without any chariot, without any army, he just walked into this Kalayavana's assembly of armies, and then he just started walking speedily towards the cave. And Kalayavana starts following Krishna, and because Krishna knows everything, what's going to happen now, what's going to happen in future. So he takes Kalyavana, he kind of leads Kalyavana, and then he goes to the cave. And inside the cave, suddenly Krishna disappears. Krishna comes to one side, and Kalyavana, the demoniac king, he was actually chasing Krishna to kill Krishna. He goes and stumbles upon this devotee of called Muchukonda, who is actually sleeping in the cave. And when he goes and kicks Muchukonda, thinking that it's Krishna. And Muchukonda who's been sleeping and was so tired and sleeping, he gets so angry that he wakes up from his sleep and looks at this Kalayavana, the demonic king, and immediately Kalayavana is burst into ashes because Muchukonda has been given that benediction that whomever he disturbing his sleep, he can just burn them into ashes. So Krishna, in one stroke, he made sure that Kalayavana is burnt into ashes. And second thing is, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhuna vinasaya duskritam dharma samstapanardaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna's comes for two purposes. One is mainly for the pleasure of his devotee, to protect his devotees, to have the divine pastime with the devotees. And second thing is to put an end to all the demoniac people. So here he's put an end to Kalyavana by getting him burnt into ashes by his devotee Muchikonda. And now, not only that, now he's appeared in front of Muchikonda, and Muchikonda was like, couldn't even see Krishna. You can see this beautiful picture of Krishna and this. So here you can see how Krishna gives his darshan to Kalayavana. And here, this is the one where you can see that how Krishna is showing his over here. So Krishna is here, and Muchikonda, he opens his eyes and he burns this Kalayavana into ashes. So this is what happens. And then Krishna gives his darshan to Muchikonda. So Muchikonda was like really amazed because Krishna shows his four-armed Narayana form to Muchikonda. So even though Muchikonda has forgotten, and so Muchikonda was introducing himself that he comes from the Ikwaku dynasty, and that he was asking Krishna, "Who are you? Like, are you a demigod? Are you like the head of all the demigods? Who are you?" And all. So then Krishna goes on to explain to him about himself and then things like that. So and then he asked Muchikonda, "Muchikonda, you've been a great devotee of me in my previous life, and now I'm giving you the benediction. Just ask for whatever that you want." So the interesting thing through the Krishna Katha, we get to understand that in those days, in Dwapara Yuga and in Satya Yuga and in Treta Yuga, the people were so knowledgeable. They were so spiritually advanced that even though Krishna was asking Muchikonda, just ask for whatever desire that you want. So Muchikonda was saying that, because he's already his family, everybody got, they died because he was busy fighting during that time. So he says, "My dear Lord, we come under the control of this inevitable time and things like that. And people are so overwhelmed by this material world. Even the mighty king who's going and fighting in all the army, when he comes back to this palace, he's just in the hands of he's at the feet of the woman in the mood of self gratification. So that is the nature of the world, that even if somebody is born in a rich family, they always remain in anxiety to maintain their wealth and things like that and things like that. So here we stopped here where you said even in the royal family, one is full of anxieties, not only because of political administration, but also in regard to being elevated for the heavenly planets. Because the thing is, we have to understand Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Brahma bhavana loke punar avartanarjuna mamupeti tu kaunteya punarjanma. Krishna says, Arjuna, even to the highest level of material world, which is called as the Brahma Loka, even over there also there is a question of life and death. There's going to be, there's going to be all kind of entanglement. There's always going to be falling down. There's a question of falling. Again, once you're done with that, again, you may just fall down into this material world. So we are continuously in this life cycle that even though we may be elevated to the heavenly planets after the pious activities, after you have enjoyed all the whatever mukti that you get out of it, again you fall down and again fall. So again this continues going up and down. But the only time that you can be elevated, we can come out of this circle of life and death is by going to Krishna Loka. That is the supreme planet. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna, that's the reason why he's kind of like giving this message through Bhagavad Gita that even up to the level of Brahma, like there are places of misery where there's again life and death and things like that. But why don't you take to the worship of Bhagavan Sri Krishna? When you reach Bhagavan Sri Krishna, supreme planet, there's no question of coming back, unless of course you again will for it. So here, as you can see, even the royal families, sometimes they may perform yajnas from the Vedas to be elevated to the heavenly planets. But even that is also again temporary, but again you come back into that. So that is where we covered till here. And now we're just going to be starting off with this. So maybe we can just start off by just doing a bit of reading as well. Anyone would like to read the chapters? So we'll make it more inclusive.
Shall I go ahead, Prabhu?
Yeah, Nagarat Prabhu, please go ahead. Yeah.
So it is therefore, right? That's the start.
Yeah, it is therefore, yeah.
Hare Krishna. It is therefore very difficult to get out of material entanglement. But if one is somehow or other favored by you, by your mercy alone, he is given the opportunity to associate with the pure devotee. That's the beginning of liberation from the entanglement of material conditioned life. My dear Lord, only by association of the pure devotees is one able to approach your Lordship, who are the controller, of both the material and the spiritual existences. You are the supreme goal of all pure devotees, and by association with pure devotees, one can develop his dormant love for you. Therefore, development of Krishna consciousness in the association of pure devotees is the cause of liberation from this material entanglement. My dear Lord, you are so merciful that in spite of being my reluctant to associate with your pure devotees, you have shown your extreme mercy upon me as a result of my slight contact with such a pure devotee as Gargamuni. By your causeless mercy, only have lost all my material opulences, my kingdom, and my family. I do not think I could have gotten rid of all this entanglement without your causeless mercy. Kings and emperors sometimes accept the life of an ascetic to forget their royal life, but your special causeless mercy I have already been bereft of royalty. I do not need to become a mendicant or practice renunciation. Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for that. So one of the things is very interesting when Amrendra Prabhu came also, we were just mentioning like sometimes how Krishna Katha, it just happens so long, but how does he help us in our lives is that it was mentioned like, the life is too short for us to make all the mistake. Our lives are too short to make us, the two ways that we learn from our own mistakes or we learn from the mistakes of others, right? So when we go through something precious as the Krishna Katha and we see the beautiful characters, how they play up, and on one side the devotees association, on one side how the demonic people behave and where each person goes, and through these Krishna kathas we can understand the moral of the story, we can understand the actually what the pure devotion is, because many times when we lose some things in our material life we start blaming God. Why did God do this? Why, I lost my business, so God is to be blamed. If you lose something else, then you start blame. So we start applying logic and we keep blaming everything. If we get everything in our life, we say it's our own this thing. Our ego keeps telling us like it's because of our own, our own talent. But if something goes wrong in our life, we try to blame God. Like, why is he doing all this thing? Why is it like so many times we have these questions and we do not have answers. But the very important thing, like the message that is being given out here is that only we are every minute of our life we are covered by these three gunas, the gunas of sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna, right? All these three gunas, and three gunas are like keeping us like puppets in the hand. We are like puppets in the hands of these three gunas. Prakrite kriya manani gunai karmani sarvataha ahankar vimudatma kartaha miti manyate. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says. The spirit soul, under the influence of false ego, thinks he is the doer of all the activities, which are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Sometimes you may see like, even though you're trying to be the best of the person, you may find that your life partner has left you because I think the karma was only till a certain state and the person has just moved on. So a lot of things are really baffling because we keep blaming ourselves. What did I do wrong? Why did somebody leave me like this? Or because in today's world, there's so much of depression going on, so much of loneliness happening, so much of self empathy kind of a thing, like as to why this happened to me. But we have to understand that these gunas and then the material nature, because of the karmas, it's constantly working on us, keeping us as puppets. But through the influence, through the association of devotees, you can find like sometimes when you're in the temple and you ask some of the devotees, like, who has recently joined, I was sitting in Soho and one of the Prabhuji was just talking about, one of the Prabhuji was talking, like they asked him, like he's from Italy and he was sharing about his experience. He said, I was very, very much like, very reluctant and I was like very much, what do you call that? Someone who's always challenging and things like that, kind of like a very different kind of a person who would not believe in all this spiritual things and things like that. So he said, once I got in association with a pure devotee, and he got me to the temple, and then slowly I started getting to know about Krishna consciousness. Then I started reading the book. But if you see many of the devotees' life, if you ask them, like, how did they come to the temple or how did they the journey in Krishna consciousness, the one of the things they will tell you is, well, we had an association of devotees, or we had bought Prabhupada's book somewhere, and that was the starting point. And reading the Prabhupada's book, they went to the temple and they made friends with the devotees like that. So somewhere you will find that the devotees of Krishna have a role to play, where somebody who's totally novice to Krishna Bhakti is coming into Krishna Bhakti because through the devotees. So that's the reason why We say ABCD. A is association of devotees, very important. And B is books. C is for chanting, and 4 is for guide or so it's very important that very starting thing itself is association of devotees. So when you associate with a pure devotee, and this is what happened, that's the starting point of liberation. And a devotee, when he brings to Krishna and he kind of like helps him in Krishna consciousness, because the only way Bhagavan Sri Krishna says that this divine energy, Daivi Hayesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya Mamevaya Papajanti Mayam Etam Tarantite. This Krishna says this divine energy is very, very difficult to cross. But those who are surrendered to me, then they can cross this divine energy. So it's very difficult to cross this material energy of these three gunas. But one who is surrendered to Krishna, he'll be able to cross this energy. But this energy, we have to understand this material energy, which is keeping us in this material entanglement, is working according to the direction of Krishna. Right? So that is something which we have. Maya Jakshena Prakriti Swete Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivar. Krishna says this material energy Arjuna, which is consisting of the three gunas, is working under my direction. Under my direction, all these things are, all the living beings and non-living beings are moving. So it is under Krishna's direction that this material energy is keeping us like puppets in this material world. But how to rise above these three gunas? Bhagavan Sri Krishna says when a pure devotee is bringing them to Krishna consciousness, into the lotus feet of Krishna, and when we are engaged in Krishna Bhakti, then we'll be able to rise above these three gunas. Mam chayo vibhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samichaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. When Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, one who's engaged in the worship of Krishna, unfailing in all circumstances, will be able to transcend these three gunas of Sattva, Rajo, and Tamo guna and rise to the level of Suddha Sattva guna. So, in one way, how to become a transcendentalist, how to become a spiritual, and how to engage in bhakti yoga and overcome this material entanglement is engaging in Krishna bhakti. And Krishna himself is saying that that's the only way you can cross over this material entanglement. So here, Muchukunda, he's saying like, it is very difficult to come out as material entanglement. So he's acknowledging, just like Arjuna has mentioned, like, it's very difficult to control the mind, which Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita. So here, the devotees also sometimes they express, it's very difficult to come out of this material entangle, but only when your Krishna shows his mercy, when you're sincerely seeking for Krishna, then you will come across, Krishna will arrange a spiritual master for you to come across a spiritual master or a pure devotee who will take us to the lotus feet. And who can be a pure devotee than Prabhupada, who has started this ISKCON just by chanting the holy names of Krishna. So Muchikonda here is saying you are the supreme goal of all the pure devotees, because we are all looking at short-term goals and long-term goals, but actual a lifetime goal is to develop this pure association devotee, rising up the yoga ladder. It's not that one day we're going to become a Valmiki or Vishwamitra. It's just as you keep associating with the devotees, as you keep chanting, and as the Cheto Darpana Marjana, which means cleansing of the heart and everything happens, then we will be able to engage in Krishna Bhakti. So here, the most important thing, how to come out of this material entanglement is developing your Krishna consciousness. And here he says that you are so merciful that in spite of being reluctant to associate with the devotees, you have shown your extreme mercy as a result of my slight contact. So this is what happens, right? The Sri Krishna Katha shows Garga Muni, he's the family Pandit for the Nanda Maharaj as well. So the Muchukunda coming in association with the Garga Muni is what led him to this bhakti as well. So one of the thing is Muchukunda, while he was fighting for the demigods with the demons, during this such a long span of fighting, when Muchukunda was fighting for the demigods to support them, to protect them, in the meanwhile, he lost all his material opulences, he lost his kingdom, all his family members died and all that. So here you see the pure devotees, why it is so important to understand Krishna Katha. He is not saying, oh Krishna, I went and did so much of favor to the demigods, and in the process I lost everything. How can it be? And he's not complaining like that. He's saying, by your causeless mercy, I have lost only I have lost all the material opulences like my kingdom and family. I do not think that I've gotten rid of this entanglement without your causeless mercy. So he's taking it as Krishna's mercy that he's actually lost all his kingdom and his family and everything. So kings and emperors sometimes accept the life and they seek to forget the royal life. But by your cause, I have already been bereft. So So you know that even in the ancient Vedic culture, even the mighty kings also at some point of time they would leave the kingdom to the in the hands of the children, the sons and all. They would leave to the forest to practice their ascetic life, during towards the end of their life. But here, Michigonda is saying even before asking also, by a causeless mercy, I have been, bereft of all this kind of a royalty. I do not need to become a mendicant or practice renunciation. It's already that everything has happened in that manner. So here we can find like pure devotees. They're not lamenting when they lost the material opulences and all that. In fact, they take it as a causeless mercy of Krishna. But actually, if you really look at, many people think like, oh, how Krishna. So if we go to Krishna Bhakti, so it means that we will lose all our material opulences and we'll lose everything that we have, all our material comforts. It's not like that. Um, what we are saying is there is a yoga ladder how we rise above the Krishna Bhakti life, right? Right now we are practicing Krishna Bhakti. We are trying to chant some rounds. We are trying to juggle multiple balls. We are trying to manage our family life, take care of our parents, take care of our children, things like that. So at this stage, we are juggling multiple balls. But Krishna appreciates even that. But when we go to the point of the yoga ladder of Bhakti Yoga, the topmost yoga, and when we come to a stage where we find that all of these things, material entanglement, are becoming a hindrance or they're becoming an obstacle on the life of Krishna Bhakti, then Krishna removes all these obstacles so that you can completely engage in Krishna Bhakti and experience a higher joy which the material opulences cannot give you. We all know the story of Dhruv Maharaj. At the age of 5 years, he was doing immense meditation for Krishna, and for 6 months he was like such a deep meditation, and he was chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva so much that when Krishna appeared in front of him and he asked him, Dhruv Maharaj, okay, what is it that you want? Actually, he was doing all this meditation and mantra meditation and chanting so that when Krishna comes, he's going to ask him for his father's kingdom, so that he'll be the heir to the kingdom, because his mother said that he can't be heir to the kingdom because he's the son of a second wife. But we find that when Krishna appeared in front of Dhruv Maharaj, he said, when when you yourself appeared in front of me, now I understand that all this while I have been praying for broken glass pieces when a diamond like you is in front of me. Krishna, I do not want any kingdom. I don't want anything. I just want you. So because we do not have the taste for Krishna, so we are trying to find our happiness in all other things. But a pure devotee is relishing all that joy, internal joy, by focusing on Krishna within his heart. And it's not that we are just chanting, but when we go to the level of pure Krishna Bhakti, when we Cheto Darpana Marjana, when we have cleansed our heart, when we cleansed our mind completely, then we will be able to find that the joy, that the soul is bursting with joy, and by relishing, by always chanting the name of Krishna, because all the anarthas, samskaras, everything has been washed out. Now you can see yourself clearly that I am a part and parcel of Krishna. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Mama ivamsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana mana shastrena indriyani prakriti slani karshati. That all of us, Krishna is saying, you are all part and parcel of me. But you have forgotten because you have fallen into this material world, because you're because so conditioned by these three gunas, so you have forgotten your relationship. But Krishna says, you, all of us, we are identifying yourself that I'm an Indian, I'm an American, I'm a European, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a businessman. But Krishna says, beyond all these things, you have a much, much higher identity. And that identity is you are a pure soul and you belong to me. So our false ego makes us think that I'm an Indian. A false ego makes us think that on our position in the business and things like that. But our true ego, when we do the complete round of chanting, we'll be able to rise up to the Krishna Bhakti where we realize that yes, I'm in part and parcel of, I'm Atma and I belong to the Paramatma. That my father, the Krishna Bhagwan, he is the ruler of this entire universe. He is the supreme proprietor. He is the supreme enjoyer. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatamam Shantim Richati. So he attains the real peace because this person who is a pure devotee, who has risen above all these material entanglement, will be able to realize Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam, that he is the supreme enjoyer, that he is the supreme proprietor of all these demigods and of all the planets. That Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, he is my well-wisher, he is my best friend. So such kind of a devotee will have real peace of mind. Because in today's material world, people do not have peace of mind because we are so mentally entangled in this material world. But a person who has got rid of most of this obstacle and completely has only one this thing goal, supreme goal to always think about Krishna, such person will attain peace of mind because he knows that I am not the proprietor. Bhagavan Sri Krishna is the proprietor. I am not the enjoyer. Sri Krishna is the enjoyer. I have my senses, but then you have Rishikesha, who's the master of my senses. So in that way, a person always thinks about it. You'll always enjoy in Krishna Bhakti. He will enjoy a much higher joy of which is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesam madhyate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate mam same yukta tamam. One who's always thinking of Krishna within his heart by always chanting his holy name and rendering transcendental loving service. What can be a bigger service than always chanting the Krishna's name? So Krishna says, for such kind of a devotee, like he's reached the highest level of Krishna Bhakti, he is the most intimately united with Krishna. And Krishna says, this is my opinion of the topmost bhakti. So we have to, in this material world, there are so many people who give opinions, but we have to take the opinion of Krishna because Krishna says, this is my opinion. The topmost yoga is one who is always chanting Krishna's name and thinking of Krishna within his heart and always rendering transcendental loving service. So I'll just read a couple of paragraphs before we just close. My dear Lord, I therefore pray that I may simply be engaged in rendering transcendental loving service unto your lotus feet. This is the ambition of pure devotees who are freed from all material contamination. You are the supreme personality of God and you can offer me anything I want, including liberation. But who is such a fool that after pleasing you, he would ask for something which might cause entanglement in the material world? I do not think that any sane man would ask such a benediction from you. I therefore surrender unto you because you are the supreme personality of Godhead. You are the super soul living in everyone's heart. And you are the impersonal Brahma effulgence. Moreover, you are in also this material world because this material world is only manifestation of your external energy. Therefore, from any angle of vision, you are the supreme shelter of everyone. Whether on the material plane or the spiritual plane, everybody must take shelter at your lotus feet. I therefore submit unto you, my Lord. So one of the things you can realize from Krishna Katha is that how to worship Krishna, how to pray to Krishna, because it is also important that we need to know how to pray actually to Krishna, what is the right way to pray for Krishna. So when we listen to this Krishna Katha and in the mood of devotion of Krishna's devotees, we can get an idea that this is what we have to pray. You're like, so here he's saying like, that that the ambition, just like how people in the material world are ambitious to enjoy for themselves, to build up buildings and to have great property, wealth, and all that. Similarly, there's an ambition. Even the pure devotees are not without an ambition, but their ambition is very devoid of all material contamination. They just only want Krishna Bhakti. And they're not even looking at mukti, they want bhakti. But we have to understand that when we are praying to Krishna, just mukti comes along with bhakti. Where Krishna says, Yat karosi, yat asnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi, kaunteya, tat kurisma. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, do everything as an offering to me. And when you do as an offering to me, you will be liberated and you will come to me. So Krishna is promising this. That when we keep Krishna in the center of our life and do everything as an offering for Krishna, Krishna is promising that including liberation. Because we've seen earlier in the chapter, Kartikeya says to Muchukonda, I can give you all your material desires, but don't ask me about liberation. Liberation only Krishna can give. So here Krishna is saying, Muchukunda is saying, this is the ambition of you are the supreme God. You can offer anything, including liberation also. But why would anybody want this material entanglement, which burns like fire? And as you keep satisfying the material desires, it's like pouring petrol over the fire. They keep burning more and more. And why would any fool? So here, through the Krishna Katha, he's considering us as a fool, somebody who would ask for material desires, which will get us more entangled into this material world. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoga Ishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Pakarata Chetasa Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Samadhavana Vidyate. Krishna says the reason why we are not getting Krishna Bhakti, Krishna says, is because your consciousness is completely contaminated with material desires and sense enjoyment. So we have filled our consciousness with so much that desire for Krishna Bhakti is not coming up because we have filled our heart completely with all samskaras and desires. But Visaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinaha Rasavajjam Rasyo Param Dristvanivat. But when we get a taste for Krishna Bhakti with the association of pure devotees, when we get that taste, that will help us to get out of this material anger because we have got a higher taste. So here he's saying, I do not think any sane man should be any man who's in his senses, someone who has experienced Krishna Bhakti, would ask for any desires in the material world. All he's asking is whether it's heaven or hell, I want to serve you, Krishna. That is the only prayer of a devotee. So here he's saying, like, you are the supreme Bhagavan and you are the super soul in everyone's heart. And we all know Krishna says, right, in Purushottama Yoga, chapter number 15, what does he say? Sarvasachaham siddhi sannabhito matasmitir jnanam apohanam. I am the one who's seated in everyone's heart. And from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. And Krishna gives the free will. He is sitting in our heart. So if you want material things, he can give you that. But if you want completely say, Krishna, I do not want any of the material, I want only you, then Krishna will give Krishna Bhakti also. He'll give us a pure devotee, like he's given us a pure spiritual master Prabhupada, who is guiding us always like a beacon of light in this material world. So we can see that in this material world, because of it's a manifestation, and you know, this material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. It's just like looking at your face in the, in the water. You know that one which you're seeing in the water is not you, but it's just a reflection. So similarly, so he's saying that you are the supreme shelter for everyone. And we know Krishna Bhagavan says that in Vibhuti Yoga, Aham Sarvasya Prabhuvo Mata Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Buddha Bhava Samadhita. What does Krishna say? I am the source of all the spiritual and material world. Here is the Supreme Lord. So God is saying this. I am the Supreme, I am the master of all the spiritual and material worlds, and everything is emanate from God. And a wise person, a Krishna Bhakta who knows this, who's always engaged in worshipping me with all his heart. So this Krishna in one sloka, he told two things. One, he has given his identification who's God. God is someone who's the controller of all spiritual and material world. So Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, Mata Sarvam Pravartate. So I'm the master of all this material. And second thing, he says a person who realizes that Krishna is the supreme Bhagwan, and he will kind of like always engage and worship him with all his heart, because he knows that there is nothing more than Krishna. Krishna is the supreme proprietor and Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So I want to just stop it here with your permission, because we just crossed 9, and I just want to be respectful of your time, listening to Krishna Katha, and I just want to hear any realizations, anything that anyone would like to share, any corrections. Hare Krishna. Ramnath Prabhuji, anything?
No, I'm just listening. Nothing to add. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, anyone else wants to share anything? Thank you, Hemal Prabhu. Sanchit Masati, Vrindavan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna
Anything?
Prabhuji.
Hare
Very
Krishna
nice,
Prabhu.
Krishna Katha. Very nice, very beautiful. I said listening. Continue
Okay.
listening.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I feel very humbled, having association of this loving devotees.
Oh,
And
one can ask question,
yes.
because Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, they say, I'm not going to Vaikuntha, I going to Golok Vrindavan, but I am to staying Bhakta Grihe Jani Janma, and I am to need the devotee house and bath again, because Krishna Katha all the time and only devotee house, not other place. That's a Bhaktivinoda Thakur story. I am such remind. It's very good for Krishna Katha.
Oh, very, very nice, Prabhuji. I was just remembering when you're just saying that, I just remember this word which where Krishna tells Narada, Naham tistami vaikunta yoginam hridayeshu cha tata tistami Narada yatra gayanti madbhaktaha. Wherever Narada, I don't reside in the Vaikuntha, nor am I in the hearts of the yogis who are looking for mystical powers. But wherever my devotees are chanting my holy name or listening to Krishna Katha, that's where I reside. So Krishna is with all of us.
Just example in the Sivasthagur house. Sivasthagur house, when is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is this nice stories, the drama, kirtan, sankirtan moment, even everyone, even in ants, they're listening Krishna Katha. And one day, Srivasthaguru's mother-in-law came in the house, and Mahaprabhu say, I am not happy today. Is there someone in the hiding here? Then Srivasthagur in a what is this? Is a ball and a kitchen here, and kick out to her house to his mother-in-law. But why? Because everyone knows the Krishna Katha, talking about Krishna Katha and Krishna house. This is very important.
Yes, true.
that Chaitanya Bhagavata is sometimes reading us and understanding this. Stories, very good stories. Anyway, sorry, I'm not so explaining properly. I'm sorry, apologize.
No, Prabhuji. I mean, it's always connected to hear about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leelas and all that. We are so fortunate to see, like, even understand how merciful Krishna is. Krishna, first of all, expands from the left as Radharani, the merciful, compassionate Radharani. And then again, as if that's not enough, like again, 500 years back, comes again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani and in the mood of separation from Krishna. So Krishna is constantly kind of like giving us this nectar to show how to worship Krishna. So he's gone to the extra mile to even come as a devotee to show us how to love Krishna. So very, very, we are very fortunate that we had to take this opportunity to follow the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji, Vrindavan Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. If anything
Hare
else?
Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah. Yeah, such a beautiful pastime again. And like, in Amarendra Prabhu's like Katha, when he was saying, he said, from Shrimad Bhagavatam, the one thing we learn is like, that really stuck with me, that, there are 18,000 shlok and people like get scared where to start and all. But he said, we just have one life, and with our life is short, as you were saying with your friends, father, like 60 to 80, maybe healthy, then 80 to 90 and years like that. But then we cannot spend all our life doing mistakes. So the mistakes which have been done, or the good things that we have been done and shared in the Krishna's pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's so much to learn from there. Like Shram Muchunda, like he what he said is, after everything, all his kingdom was, everything was taken away, he said is, Krishna, it's a mercy. Without your causeless mercy, this wouldn't have happened, and I couldn't have been like focused on the path of bhakti. So even from there, the lessons learned, like there's every story, every pastime, there's so much to learn. So instead of us going through all that, it's so beautiful and blissful to learn from the mistakes and the good things from these pastimes and make our life more meaningful. Yes, bro. That's my realization.
Yes, Sanjay, wonderful realization. Yeah, it's very important, isn't it, to share our realizations. And this is the religion of realization. Sanatana Dharma is like, it's a religion of realization. It's not blind belief. And it's so important, like as you said, because that day Krishna says four kind of devotees come to him, and one of the devotees says people are in distress, people are looking for wealth and things like that. So actually they come with that desire. But I was just thinking the devotees are on the other side, where they're actually not coming for any of this, but they actually want to come out of all this. So we find, even though there are four devotees, four kind of devotees, the fourth kind of devotees are someone who wants to get out of this. The first three kind of devotees, one is materialistic, wants more wealth, one wants to come out of distress, and the other third one is inquisitive, wants to know more. But actually, the fourth one is a pure devotee who doesn't want the material wealth, or even he just wants to come out of the entanglement so that he can focus completely on Krishna, serving Krishna. So, yeah, thank you, Sanjay. Wonderful realization on that.
Prabhu, can I have 1 minute? So, continuing on your statement on the fourth type of bhakti, people come to you in very, very nice lyrics in Damodarastakam, where it says, Varam Devam Moksham Va Na Moksham Vadim Va Nachanam Brineham Varesha Dapiha Idam Te Vapurunatu Gopala Balam Sadame Manasya Avirastam Kimanne, where he says, Oh Lord, although you're able to give me all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopala in Vrindavan may be ever be manifest in my heart. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Wonderful, Prabhuji. Yeah, that's beautiful. Actually, sometimes we don't realize it, but even if you look at ourselves also, like in such days, we look forward to going to manor and serving and things like that. These are all the small, beautiful things of realization that we should all realize, that when we experience that Krishna Bhakti, we would love to be there and serving Krishna more than doing anything else also. So in one way, we have to sometimes, our mind goes in so many directions, but sometimes we have to make our mind into our own best friend and realize that we are doing the right thing and in serving Krishna, because Krishna says that. Ramana Prabhu.
Yeah, Sham, everyone. I just wanted to add, yes, in Chaitanya Vaishnavism, we're being trained to desire to go back to Goloka Vrindavan, not Vaikuntha. Yet, at the same time, we should also appreciate that those devotees that obtain Vaikuntha, that's success. They've gone back to Godhead. They've gone out of the cycle of repeated birth and death. And Srila Prabhupada explains in Nectar of Devotion, I'd have to find the exact reference, but there is a reference in Nectar of Devotion that in Vaikuntha, a devotee can make further progress to Goloka Vrindavan. So
Yes.
Krishna consciousness is for everyone. And even Prabhupada says we're worshiping Radha and Krishna, but in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan. So if someone worships Lakshmi Narayan or Radha Krishna, but the mood is more formal, and they obtain the Vaikuntha Loka, that's success. That's success in going back home, back to Godhead. Well, back to Godhead is a big place. Specifically, Chaitanya and the Goswamis are wanting us to train to go back to Goloka Vrindavan, but there's no harm in going back to Vaikuntha at all, because you can make further progress.
Definitely, Prabhuji. In fact, in Tirupati, they have that on one particular day, they open the doors and it's more of like going back to Vaikuntha. So this in Tirupati, the main goal
Different
over
devotees have different moods, and that
Yes.
should be appreciated.
Yes, definitely, Prabhuji. Because we all have to understand that we all come from different backgrounds. Like we in Nagarapur, we all come from South India, and we're all from different parts of the world where we grew up worshipping, Balaji and Vishnu, and then coming. So it's all a melting place where we're coming from different backgrounds, and we should respect that.
Exactly.
Even if it's Shiva Bhakta or Vaishnava Bhakta, we should all appreciate, and not like we say like, oh no, don't do that.
We don't want to be Shiva Bhakta. I mean, we're Vaishnavas. We're aspiring Vaishnavas. We want to go back to the spiritual world as Vaishnavas. Yes, Lord Shiva, Durga has a place in that, but we're not devotees of Shiva or Durga in the sense that we aspire to be with them in the spiritual world. They can help us in our bhakti to Krishna, to Radha and Krishna, or Lakshmi Narayan, or Sita Ram, like that. So when we say go back home, back to Godhead, well, Godhead, back home, back to Godhead is quite a large place. In fact, it's described in the Bhagavatam, 3/4 of the manifest creation is the spiritual world, which includes Vaikuntha. 1/4 is the material world, and we can't even imagine how big the 1/4 section is, because there's unlimited material universes coming out of the body of Mahavishnu. So there's that proportion, 3/4 spiritual world, 1/4 material world. But to get out of the material world, to get out of the prison house and go to Vaikuntha, that is success. We should not think lesser of it.
Yes, Prabhuji. Wonderful. People so happy, like sometimes having these insights is so important for devotees to understand. Like sometimes other way people can't come and have a misunderstanding. Or you want us to, be away from all our. Because so many people who have practiced for such a long time, they feel very offended if you tell them like leave everything, come. But it's nice to understand the bigger picture of reach to Krishna. Everything can be used as a stepping stone towards Krishna Bhakti and reach Goloka Vrindavan.
At the manor, you have a kind of a mix. Yes, you have Radha Gokulananda. It's Radha and Krishna. Then you also have Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman. So there's kind of a mixing of emotions, you could say, and certainly many of the congregational members may find more attraction to Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, and the whole feeling of going back to Ayodhya or going to participate in Ram Lila. That's okay. That's actually okay. It's not outside the bounds of Chaitanya Vaishnavism. But to fully appreciate Chaitanya, it's all about Radha and Krishna. If you want to understand Radha and Krishna, you have to understand Chaitanya. If you want to understand Chaitanya, you have to understand Radha and Krishna. Just like Radha Ashtamis coming up. So to understand Radharani, you have to understand Chaitanya. In order to understand Chaitanya, you have to understand and appreciate Radharani. So we are specifically Chaitanya Vaishnavas, and that's a very specific focus compared to the other Vaishnava sampradayas.
Yes, definitely, Prabhuji. In fact, as you mentioned, we have witnessed that on Saturdays when I sing the Aarti and I sing for Ramchandra as well, Raghupati Raghavara, and we literally feel the energy levels just going up like anything
Yeah.
because everybody's associated, they know this bhajan very well and they have been listening all their lives. So when we sing that, they feel so much at home. They just immediately you find the decibels rising, like when you sing Raghupati Raga. And we felt like Nagaraj Prabhu and myself, we realized like we're like, wow, the energy has gone up. Till then, everybody just like singing, and then it just lifts up the whole atmosphere. It's like the point is like to engage, to make everybody feel inclusive,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and take them to Krishna Bhakti. It's not to because we have people. Sanatan Dharma is huge. From different walks of life, people are coming, so we have to appreciate all that, as you mentioned. We're very fortunate, Prabhuji, your realizations.
What we have to be very clear, though, in terms of, okay, like I was saying in the beginning, I'm listening very carefully to what Swami Bhagavan Kesha Maharaj is saying about demystifying Hinduism. In Chaitanya Vaishnavism, we can incorporate Shaivism as Gopishwar Mahadev. We can also incorporate Shaktism. We are worshiping Adi Shakti, Radharani, and also Shakti is there in the form of Subhadra. Shakti is there in the form of Tulsi Devi. So we actually incorporate a sense of Shaktism, but it's not the material Shaktism. What we cannot and cannot tolerate to incorporate is the Smarta mentality of Hinduism. That is like 180 degrees opposite Krishna Bhakti, because ultimately the Smarta perspective coming from Shankaracharya, propounding Panchopasana, it's like, yes, the worship of Vishnu can be there, but ultimately when you become enlightened, you become one with the Brahman and you kick Vishnu in the face and say, get lost. Thank you very much. I don't need you anymore. You kick the guru in the face, get lost. I become one. I'm enlightened. So that mentality of Smartism, that is opposite Krishna Bhakti. That we cannot incorporate. But the other aspects of Sanatana Dharma, they can be incorporated within the Chaitanya perspective.
I totally agree, Prabhuji. Like, I mean, what Prabhupada has shown us the way of Dvaita worship, like where we have a loving relationship with Krishna and the Bhakti. It's not like we are part and parcel of God. We are not God, or we are not, we are one with God when we are always worshipping God in the mood of
There's a story of Murari Gupta in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Lord Chaitanya was testing Murari Gupta. He said, actually, because Murari Gupta was a devotee of Sita Ram. And Chaitanya said, I want you to give that up and just become a devotee of Radha and Krishna. But Murari Gupta, he couldn't sleep that night, thinking that he had to follow the order of Chaitanya. At the same time, he couldn't give up his devotion to Sita Ram. And then Mahaprabhu revealed to him the next day, actually, I was just testing you, and actually, you're Hanuman in Ram Leela, coming to serve me in Chaitanya Leela. Exactly. So Murari Gupta is Hanuman. So the point is, there's these subtleties, there's these varieties, and that's good. That's welcome. We cannot be fanatics about Chaitanya Vaishnavism only being Goloka Vrindavan. Vaikuntha is also welcome.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. Thank you. I mean, I think the way you think and share, Prabhuji, the realization is more of inclusiveness in Sanatana Dharma. That's something which
that's why my point is ISKCON as an organization for Chaitanya Vaishnavism is meant to unify, bring together these disparate aspects of Sanatana Dharma into a unified understanding through Chaitanya, through the Goswamis, and ultimately through Prabhupada and ISKCON. And as much as we can do that, then we're a success. Otherwise, we're simply another Vaishnava sect. And that's okay in one sense, but it's not okay in terms of what Prabhupada wanted. He didn't want to establish another Vaishnava sect amongst other Vaishnava sects.
Yes, Prabhuji. So much of work has been left to us to carry forward. And Prabhupada has done everything.
Big
that
responsibility, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he given us all the foundation of Krishna
Exactly.
Bhakti.
It's
Given
all
us
there in
all the
Prabhupada's
material.
books, ultimately.
Everything is there. At least if he absorbed that much, we'll be in a position to share, you know. But I think, as you mentioned, when we are preaching or when you're sharing, uh, things could get misunderstood. It's very important to give the clarity.
They can get
Otherwise,
misunderstood very quickly, very easily.
yeah, many people do that also. They think ISKCON is like a cult, it's like, oh, they're different from others, they don't worship her, they don't respect her. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding out there. But as you said, inclusiveness of, you know, whether it's worshiping Krishna through the devotion, through the blessings of Gopeshwar Mahadev, or whether it's aiming for Vaikuntha, it's all in the right direction of Krishna Bhakti.
Well,
Our supreme goal
when
should
it
be
comes when it comes to Lord Shiva, it's a huge topic. It's a confusing topic, but I always encourage the devotees, focus on Gopeshwar Mahadev. Try and understand Gopeshwar Mahadev. Try and develop a relationship with Gopeshwar Mahadev in Vrindavan like that, because that will help you in your Krishna Bhakti. All the other aspects of Lord Shiva, it becomes confusing. But with Gopeshwar Mahadev, it's absolutely part of the Chaitanya tradition. And when more shrines of Gopeshwar Mahadev manifest within ISKCON, that will be the day when the larger Indian Hindu diaspora will look towards ISKCON for real guidance and inspiration to bring Sanatana Dharma together.
Together, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
as you said,
unified.
he's part of the Vraja Bhakti as well, Gopeshwar Mahadev.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Amarendra Prabhu did mention, I think, essentially, if you maybe remember, right, about Vrindavan having about Gopeshwar Mahadev. I thought he just mentioned something briefly about that. But yeah, I thought it was nice actually on that day. Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. And somebody was talking about Gopesh and Madhav, and then your name came up, and or just last weekend only. And they said like, yeah. Then I said like, yeah, Ramnath Prabhu is joining, and he was like so excited. Oh, Ramnath, yeah, I was talking about Ramnath Prabhu only. I said Gopesh and Madhav when he said, and he gave your name, and I said like, okay, it has to be Ramnath.
I actually had a nice discussion with Amarendra at the Soho reception about Gopeshwar Mahadev and Sadashiva. And yeah, he's got nice realizations. He's also very mature in his understanding. I was very happy to see that, because he represents a newer generation of devotees who inherits Krishna consciousness from the old dinosaurs like myself and others, you know.
Prabhuji, so did he come to Soho, Prabhuji?
It was on a Monday. He came and he just kind of like popped in for darshan and popped out. But he did no classes, nothing.
Yeah, he came for the darshan, I guess. He just wanted to see Soho temple. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely, Ramnath Prabhu. It's very true what you said. Like he's like a youth icon. We need more such icons, like so that the
Swayam
more
Bhagavan Keshwar Maharaj also. He's 42.
Of course,
very
he
youthful.
is. He definitely is for UK, but representing in the US, I think Amarendra Prabhu, being so young, he's just 32, I guess, 10 years younger than Keshu Maharaj, but is still very powerful, even as a grihastha. I mean, he had a good job. He had a very good. He's a like MIT double graduate, like graduate and postgraduate. Still, he left his job and then serving ISKCON. Both he and his wife.
He was born into a very elevated Vaishnava Krishna conscious ISKCON family. That helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he and the parents are disciples of what's that Maharaj?
Radha Govinda Maharaj.
Is it okay? Yeah,
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Don't quote me on that. I think that's it. The very exalted Indian Maharaj Prabhupada disciple in Vrindavan.
Okay. I heard like Swarup Damodar Prabhu. I think that he was
Swarup Damodar Maharaj, maybe.
No, yeah, because he mentioned. Yeah, he mentioned that like when Swarup Damodar Maharaj he initiated his parents, and he told him that you are only 14 now, and when you are 18 I'll initiate you. But by then he left his body, so that's why he got initiated from Radha Govind Maharaj.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that whole history, but I do know Sri Damodar Maharaj. From
So
many
he
decades ago.
is a very influential devotee Vaishnava on the young generation. Even the children love watching him and listening to him. My son, he's just 9, and then when we took him, he was listening to the last day's katha, and then he said, now this is called real katha because it had everything. He had song, he had like fun jokes, and then shlokas and everything. So he was listening and he really enjoyed. So that's really nice because
and it's nice. It's nice. He's
listening
a householder. He has a
yeah.
career, and that's good. You don't have to be a sannyasi to have that kind of influence in this kind. So that's also good. I like that.
Yeah, and also like Keshav Maharaj being a sannyasi, he's like a modern day sannyasi who is like more flexible and using technology like at the max to like this year, like if we see the in Janmashtami in the temple in Manor, the the cutouts of the Mahabharat which was on the way, like the normally usually they have
AI
the
generated images.
Yeah,
But it's wonderful.
So that that
very
was
nicely
Maharaj's.
done.
Yeah, that was Maharaj's idea. Like, he said to use the chat GPT and AI, which people are using in a bad way. Of course, they are using it in good ways and bad ways as well. But he wants to using it how it can be used spiritually. Because I was asking these devotees who were building, like we were also serving before Janmashtami as volunteers. And then I was asking these devotees, young ones, like they're just recent, got their job as dentist and all different medical profession. So I was asked, they said that the queries they gave on Google or Chat GPT to get the right image, it has to be very accurate. And he said if anything is wrong, then they would put like Krishna's head and maybe dog's foot. So some AI is still not perfect, but they used it for a very nice purpose. So which is
exactly for that preaching purpose, I think it was. I mean, I did not see it, but I saw videos of the exhibition at night. It was absolutely gorgeous, very attractive, and very alluring, and good for preaching. Now, I just wanted to add, I'm discussing with Nagaraj, not our Nagaraj, is a Nagaraj Prabhupada disciple in Florida, who's the head editor of Back to Godhead. So I have another article coming out in January, and he definitely wants to avoid AI imagery. Because and I think he's right. For Back to Godhead, it's a different level of preaching. But maybe AI will reach the point where, even they'll use AI for Back to Godhead in the future. Who knows?
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In that note, Prabhu, you had, I think, I was not on this call for, I think, a month or a bit more than a month. And before that, you were discussing about one of your articles in Back to Godhead. And you mentioned that maybe you can send Shyam Prabhu and then I can get, I think, something which I missed. I haven't received which was the last article you wrote, Prabhu?
Okay. I've written an article. It's been accepted and edited, has not yet come out, but the article is there, the edited version. In other words, I need editing. I can't just write something and it's good for
Sure, definitely.
So I have an edited version. If you want, I can send to Shyam and he can send to whoever he wants. And you can read it. It's scheduled to come out in January 2025. And it's about Lord Chaitanya in Varanasi and his very intimate connection with Kashi Vishwanath, the main Shiva there.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, I just forgot which was. Yeah, thank you for mine. Yeah, but definitely please do whenever you get time.
I'll send it to Shyam. Shyam, you do the needful, okay?
Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah, definitely, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Sanjay. So happy to have you back, Sanjay. And Prabhuji also has come back this week.
It's always good to listen to Krishna Katha, especially Canto 10. I mean, nothing can be more nectarian and blissful than Canto 10. So it's like, when I wasn't able to, I still missed I'm not listening to what is happening in the story right now. So yeah, it's even if you read it, it's always good to listen to kathas and discussions. Yeah.
Definitely, Sanjay. Thank you so much for your association, Prabhuji.
It's getting late.
Thank you everyone for giving this association today, and so we will meet again next Thursday. Continuation of that. Hare Krishna.
Can we all unmute and say thank you to Shyam Prabhu by saying Hari Bol?
Definitely.
Haribol.
Hari bol, hari bol, hari bol,
Hari
Sham,
bol.
Hari
Ram
Krishna.
Prabhu ki
Hari
jai,
Bol.
Ramnath Prabhu ki jai.
Hari Bol,
Jai
Hari Bol.
Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha cha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo
namo
namaha.
namaha.
Ananta Koti
Jai
Vaishnavrinda ki
Ananta
jai.
Koti Vaishnavrinda
Prabhupada
ki
ki
jai.
jai.